What's poppin', farming family? How y'all doing today? Today, if you couldn't tell, we're checking out the Proton paddle, the Series 4 Roadrunner. This is their edgeless paddle. It's elongated. The face is a blend of raw carbon fiber and Kevlar. The core is what I refer to as a sandwich core. It's when you have different materials stacked on top of each other, essentially making a sandwich. And in this paddle, you've got the Nomex in the middle with the polypropylene making the bread. So yeah, I have a code for this company. It's Lanky. You will get 10% off if you use that code. It was 15% off. I have a decent history with this company. I was one of the first ones to review their Proton Series 1 before they raised the prices. Because back whenever, it first came out, you could buy the paddles with my code for $200, which was a really good deal. They bumped the prices. The price is a little expensive on this one. You're going to hear me when I get to the value for your money part, but let's talk about how this feels and stuff, because I was pretty surprised realistically, because I normally hate edgeless paddles in general. So when it comes to the pop of this paddle, this is in the lower spectrum of pop realistically, even though it's a 15 millimeter instead of 16 millimeter. It didn't have a crazy amount of pop. If you're wanting something that's going to have a lot of pop and surprise the heck out of people in terms of hand battles and, speed ups and doing counters and stuff like that, this one's not going to be one for you. But in terms of power, this one definitely had more power than I expected it to. With it being edgeless and not having foamed edge, I was sort of expecting it to be on the very low end of power in terms of elongated paddles. But I would honestly put this probably middle of the road when it comes to Gen 2 paddles that are currently on the market. I could actually get a decent amount of, oomph on the ball when I was doing drives from the baseline. And I would add a little bit of lead tape to this. I'm going to mention that in the twist weight part of this video, but that's also going to add to the plow through that this paddle has. In terms of control, there are different aspects that I consider in terms of control. I consider the face's plushness, how it feels with the ball coming off the face, and also the sweet spots of these paddles. Because the sweet spot does have a decent amount to do with control. You're going to have a less, harder time controlling it if the sweet spot's not as good. But yeah, control-wise, you heard me when it came to the pop. It's not going to be like crazy, crazy poppy. I feel like most people that have used Gen 2 paddles are going to be able to get this paddle and control it like it's a Gen 2. I don't really know what else to say realistically. This is not a hard paddle to control if you've played with other Gen 2s. When it came to the spin of this paddle, it got 2,026 RPMs. Anything over 1850, like I always say, is going to be good, but anything over 2,000, you're really, really going to appreciate. And this is one of the paddles that's going to give you really, really good spin. So in terms of spin, there's no complaining. This is going to be up towards the top in terms of spin, or at least compared to the paddles that I've tested. So in terms of spin, this is a really, really good paddle. When it came to the swing weight, crazy light. Literally 112 swing weight on this edgeless paddle, which means you can lead this bad boy up, increase the swing weight up to about where a regular elongated paddle is, and make this thing slap pretty hard. It's not like, the mods, the paddle techs, the ripples, or anything like that. But the extra lead tape will raise up the swing weight, and in the next part, it will increase the twist weight and also add plow through in terms of power. So yeah, swing weight wise, this is crazy. This is a crazy low swing weight. I mean, it is edgeless, so that makes sense that it is lower than, all the elongated ones with edge guards. But yeah, and the overall static weight of this was 8.1 right out of the box without an edge guard. With an edge guard, I would hate to see what this would weigh. It would probably be like 8.7 or 8.8 ounces realistically. The twist weight on this was 5.44. Okay, that sounds awful. That sounds like, ugh. And realistically, it is a low number. You're going to have to add, lead onto it to increase the, twist weight. Because if you hit the ball at the very far edges, it's going to rotate a little bit in your hand. That's just something you expect with edgeless paddles. What I will say, though, is the sweet spot surprised the living crap out of me. Okay, when I played with this or when I got it out, I'm like, it's edgeless. The sweet spot's going to be like that big. But realistically, the sweet spot was almost twice the size as some of the other edgeless paddles that I've played with. And whatever Proton did to achieve that is nice, because the miss hits weren't as bad as I expected versus, the Selkirk Lux and other paddles like that. So yeah, in terms of sweet spot for an edgeless paddle, this is top of the line. This is top tier sweet spot for edgeless paddles. Now this is literally basically the only negative I can think about when it comes to this paddle. It's $300. Okay, if this was anywhere from 160 to even 220, I could recommend this paddle to certain people or say this is a pretty good paddle. But for 300, that is an outrageous price. I don't know anyone that I'm going to be like, hey, yo, try this $300 Kevlar blend paddle instead of this $150 Kevlar blend paddle. I just don't see me ever doing that, and I don't see anyone else ever doing that realistically. If there's a price drop with this, I could see these actually selling a decent amount, but at 300, I don't think anyone should be going out and getting this. And realistically, I think their Nanotech Series 1 paddles should also be dropped down to like 220, 240, and then make discounts codes get them down to 200. Because I don't think these high quality paddles like this should be out of reach for a majority of Americans who are probably struggling financially realistically. Because everybody don't have $300, just to be throwing out like it's nothing every 6 months. So put it below 200 and this will sell a lot better. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope it gives you, sort of some details on this paddle. And if you think it fits you, and if it does, and you're willing to spend $300, by all means. But if I'm a consumer, I'm not going to buy that. That is an outrageous price realistically, especially compared to their Nanotech Nanotech is supposed to have lifetime surface. I don't see this one having lifetime surface. Just go get the Nanotech if you're going to get a Proton paddle and call it a day. Especially with that new blue and gray one. That thing looks plain. But yeah, until next time, stay safe. Have a good day. Drink plenty of water. Peace, y'all.